So for this video, I'm going to be taking on Bthardamz on Master difficulty from the Isle of Madness story mode. And it's a normal encounter, it's just a normal enemy. However, they start with a couple of traps in play, they have more traps in their deck. And when these traps die, they have a last gasp that will do bad things. So this deck is tailored to deal with the traps the best way that we know how. That's banishing them so they don't trigger last gasp, banishing them so they don't play more traps against us, and then also transforming them. They all have 0 attack, so cards like Grizzly Gourmet are really effective. So I'm going to go ahead and just jump right in. Again, this is like a tailor-made mage list. You don't have to use this list, but if you want to, like always, there will be a deck code in the video description. If you want to just use it as inspiration, that's fine too. Really, like any traditional control deck list would work for this. This particular one, I'm also running an awful lot of cards with Prophecy, just because the enemy is going to try to hide behind these traps and kind of punch you in the face a bit. I think we're going to throw all the Prophecy cards back. And then a lot of removal cards as well, so Piercing Javelins, things like that. Speak and it shall appear. But yeah, you'd play just like a pretty standard control deck where you get control of the board. Again, we want to try to avoid killing these until we absolutely have to, and then if we can, we want to banish them or transform them so that bad things do not happen to us. We'll go ahead and use this here. And then once we have done that, okay, that's fine too. Once we've done that, once we have control of the board, then you can start pressuring. But in the interim, sure, you just kind of stall. You play removal.
Back where you came.
If you're not playing this particular list and you're playing any other control deck, again, it's the same thing. Just kind of run them out of cards. Their deck is very heavily neutral based. Let's use a Javelin here because then we can use Iron to get one back. But it is a Crusader list, so they have some willpower cards, some Crusader cards. There's like a Fireball in there, if I remember correctly. So, yeah, let's go to Iron over here, I guess. We don't need to use either of these quite yet. We actually kind of want that to hit us to see if we can get a free Prophecy. Oh, no. Well, now I can't use a Knight to remember.
We dance in the flames.
Well, we'll go ahead and get rid of this, and we'll put this over here. This list, I'm also running some Doppelgangers just because there are some cheeky, like, summon effects. That's also why I'm running a Knight to Remember. Because, again, if you get something like Piercing Twilight, for example, you can start banishing stuff from their graveyard and very easily deal with the threats that your opponent is playing. And here I think we're just going to go ahead and use the Ice Storm. And then this Firebolt here, that leaves this alive. This list also does have some Wolves. That's worth noting as well. Oh look, it's Unkano.
I have many important things on my mind.
Let's just go ahead and shoot this. Unkano's like the top end, and he's in here because he's a quality finisher, and again, with all the Knight to Remembers and Doppelgangers, there's a lot of different stuff you can do, but we're still... I was going to say, we're still kind of hoping to find that cast into time, but instead we just run into an awful lot of pressure plates. Things like that, so I guess... since they're out of cards, we're going to go ahead and crack one of these and hope for the best.
About this.
Oh. Well, that wasn't very nice now, was it? Let's go ahead and use... let's use a Reverberating Strike, actually. Now, interesting. You'll notice it did not bounce to the other pressure plates. I don't know if it's a bug or not, but in my experience with this encounter, the two pressure plates that start in play for some reason are not treated as the same as ones that are in the deck. Because if you were to cast into time this particular one as well, it will not remove the extras from the deck. But then the ones they play later, so it must be this one, those ones on the other hand do, in fact, allow you to pull a bunch more from the deck, because the deck does have more pressure plates in it, and the deck does also have more tripwires in it, and those are banishable. So it is worth noting that sometimes
I'll try to draw their fire.
You might run into problems like that. Yeah, let's go and just put these over here, I guess. We're just trying to set it up so that we can do a full clear, even with the tripwires and the pressure plates and everything else. So let's go ahead and Ice Storm now. Let's trigger all of the bad stuff. Let's go ahead and shackle that. Let's go ahead and shackle that. Oh, of course I mentioned it earlier. Fireball, and then they go ahead and draw one.
By our service, we honor kind.
So we'll just go ahead and guard up. Now, this is going to deal us 1 damage, but we're fine with that, because it's gonna get a attack bonus and breakthrough. Unless, of course, they silence this now, in which case, okay. Now we take 2 damage instead of 1. Either way, we're fine with that. We can still trade back. So it looks like annoying and dire, but the reality is,
Iron shield. I have you now.
go ahead and do that.
A few drinks, a few laughs, and a contest.
And then we'll go ahead and do that. We'll save the javelins, and now we can, again, kind of start working our way towards attacking.
You can't escape, can't escape.
Their deck, it is worth noting, does actually have prophecies in it, so you have to be careful. There's like the Dwemer prophecy, yeah, speaking of, there it is. Again, we kind of want to try to keep our stuff alive, so let's just go ahead and do that.
You're so sweet, I could just eat you up.
That. The other wolf. Oh. Alright, so that's going to silence this. Oh, no. Interesting, okay. We're still alright with it.
Face me, worthless
their deck has a lot of creatures that are
Scrumptious.
much smaller, so executes are actually pretty solid in this particular list. We're going to go ahead and javelin this as well, just because we are a little bit low. No reason to take risks. Alright, now that's kind of adorable. And there's that tripwire I was talking about. So as I said, there are tripwires. There it is, piercing. I was going to say, I know that we actually have banish cards in this list. And I would expect to have ran into one by now. So let's go ahead and do this and see what happens. Alright, so we took the 1 damage. Let's do this. And now we're going to Piercing Twilight, and we're going to hit that tripwire. So again, see how these pressure plates are different? Again, a bug, right? Or at least I suspect it's a bug. For whatever reason, the 2 that start in play are treated as differently. And it's also kind of annoying because right now you don't know which is which. So you couldn't even pick the one you want to banish like properly. But we're going to grab the tripwire anyway because we know there's a bunch in there. So as you can see, you can eat a bunch. Also makes their deck significantly smaller. And that's the idea, right? The idea is that you want, hopefully, to
let us stand together.
Banish them early and avoid dealing with the last gasps, so that you don't get in this scenario that looks, you know, far more dire than what it is. But with the Lightning Bolt top deck, we're still going to beat this handily. And as I said, this list is the one I use. You don't have to use it. Almost any control deck will work, but if you want to use this, the deck code will be in the video description. If you were struggling, hopefully this helps. Thanks for watching, and until next time, may you walk on warm sands.